All right, so Gavin Newsom filed a temporary restraining order against Donald Trump for bringing in the military into California. And today's going to be the showdown hearing. I got to go check it out. It's like the Super Bowl for, I wouldn't say the Super Bowl, but it's definitely a Game 1 type of World Series event for litigation. And into the courtroom, definitely not going to be recording inside the courtroom, but, you know, I want to go into the courtroom and go check it out right now. So it should be really exciting. Again, what it's about is we've got a TRO hearing, and that's going to be temporary restraining order leading up to a potentially preliminary injunction. If the court grants the restraining order today, that's coming in ex parte by the governor, then that would mean that the White House, Trump, would be restrained from using the military against or within California by law. That's what it would mean. So the judge would put a stop on him from coming into California and bringing in the military at all for any enforcement power. And then there would be an order to show cause hearing on the preliminary injunction for why he shouldn't permanently being restrained from bringing any military enforcement over California. That's what the governor's asking for right now. And you know, it's a constitutional question. It's definitely a serious legal question that I don't have the answer to. Yeah, you know, so that's what the judge is going to be for here to decide. But there's definitely a lot of fake news out there right now of people who've said, "Oh, this is already decided. It's over. It's this. It's that." No, wrong. It's not decided. It is happening. This is the TRO hearing. It's ex parte. It's happening up on the 17th floor of the federal building here in about 20 minutes is going to be the hearing, oral argument on the ex parte for the TRO. So it's definitely not decided yet. Okay, it hasn't been denied. It's just happening on argument, and we'll see. We got a federal judge, got a bow tie, and I don't know anything about the guy other than he's been from San Francisco. He grew up in San Francisco, and he's got a lot of. Yeah, I really don't know. Hopefully it's not a politically motivated hearing, because that's the last thing we want is when judges start getting political. That's just that causes for recall to me, or definitely recusal. The judges should be dealing with the law and the fact, and they're really on the argument like this on a TRO. It's going to be a legal question. Does the governor have the legal right to challenge the president on this major constitutional question? You know, does the Constitution allow the president to bring forward a military enforcement power into the state without invoking the Insurrection Act? So, is this Posse Comitatus required? I mean, there are some serious legal questions that need to be answered, and it's not as easy, it's not as open and shut as people think. So it is a valid question. It needs to be decided. And today will at least be the ex parte hearing, and then potentially go over, on the TRO, and then potentially go over to the injunction. It's going to be in national news, I would imagine. I hope I can even get in for a seat in the courtroom today. So no guarantee. All right, stay tuned. See you on the at the top. Just something else to add here as I'm pulling in here pretty close. It's just the magnitude of what this hearing is about. Like, I get it. That's why I'm coming here. You know, make it happen in my day, because this is historic. I mean, if the judge rules that Donald Trump and the president cannot use the military here, and Donald Trump feels though it's an absolute existential crisis, will he follow the judge's order? I would say most likely he will. I mean, because it's been so many years, I don't know, hundreds of years since we've had that type of constitutional crisis where a president is not following orders of the judge. But this might be one of those times. Like, if this judge says you cannot use the military in California without invoking the Insurrection Act, I don't know. It might be one of those times where he says, you know what? I'm not going to follow the judge's order. The president has that right. he's a separate branch of government. If he wanted to, he doesn't have. It sounds crazy, but you got the three branches of government, right? They're separate for a reason. Now, it definitely is a crisis if it happens, but he could invoke his executive power and say, "Fine, say what you want, Judge, but I'm not going to have your order enforced," because the executive power enforces the order. So this is an exciting time. Yeah, so in this case, you got a completely open and shut case in the way the law looks like, the way I understood the statute. Now, the argument is going to be about, is it even justiciable? Meaning, does this judge even have any jurisdiction to decide such a matter? Wow, the judge was very upset about that, very insulted by that question. That, how dare you say, do I have basically jurisdiction to even decide this matter? Judiciable? And that was an example of a judge litigating the entire case against the defendant, co-counseling the whole case. So the plaintiff in this case, his counsel, doesn't need to even say anything. He basically got up at the end, said for 2 minutes it was open and shut. Judge has already made up his mind that he's insulted, and he's basically, of course, that he's got jurisdiction. That's in his mind, and that, the case is open and shut in his mind. So yeah, you're going to see the restraining order issued right now against Donald Trump by a governor with no real authority. This guy, I know it's a different question. It shouldn't be brought up at this point, but this guy was recalled by the people of California. And then in a fraudulent, fake, live TV, he was put back in and the votes changed. I was in the convention. I watched it with my own eyes. I watched the votes go shift overnight on the live TV on recall. And then he was able to stay in office. The people don't have, so no, he's not an actual people elected governor, not even close. So that's how it's going to go down. Great arguments from the defendant's counsel, great position. And it was a constitutional question in a way, a legislative question with the statute. I'll have to go over it in a second, but yeah, it's definitely going to be open and shut. They're gonna grant the TRO. Well, no, he's going to grant it, no question. Yeah, so 12 U.S.C. 406. It's 10 U.S.C. 12406, and it talks about invoking the National Guard. That's the statute that it's under, the Article 2 power the president has to do so. And in Judge Breyer's opinion, in his mind, well, the president's subservient to the governor. In this case, when there's a potential rebellion, he's subservient to the governor. And if the governor doesn't want to bring forward the National Guard, or he objects, well, they can discuss it, Camp David. Maybe they can talk about it over coffee. He doesn't need to do it. That's this judge's opinion. Now, again, he's a San Francisco liberal, born and raised, and the whole courtroom was packed full of people. By the way, it was absolutely slammed. It was overflow, so packed. And it makes me I hate to say this being in San Francisco, but it makes me sick to see people in San Francisco having a complete what's called TDS, and it makes no difference about what your opinion is about somebody having TDS. It matters whether or not you bleed red, white, and blue and you're American. That's it. Are you an American? Are you bleeding red, white, and blue? Because if you're not, I don't care what your name is, what your party is, dude, you're not. And that's what I saw in the courtroom today, was people who were just, they're not interested in red, white, and blue. They're interested, they just got TDS, basically. Okay, Trump derangement syndrome, no doubt about it. And it's a political motive. But ultimately, the statute's clear. The president has the executive power to make these decisions in calling forward the National Guard to the state. Sorry, he does. But according to this judge, he doesn't. That's my take on it. And again, it's going to be the TRO is going to be granted. I'll see you at the top. This is Gavin.